Okay, Professor Clapp, this is Albert. A little bit ago, you asked me to find an exploit that doesn't use Metasploit for the Eternal Blue vulnerability, and I did find one. And you can use Metasploit with it, but you don't have to. So I'll show you what I mean. So if you go over, let me drag this over. So if you go over to this GitHub right here, the Auto Blue MS17. And you kind of read through it. It makes kind of like running through Metasploit very easily, and it kind of does it by itself, but you don't have to use it. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to clone this GitHub right here. And I already made a directory for the box I'm working on. So I'm on CTF's Tryhackme, and then I'm working on the box called Blue. So that is this box right here. It's a very beginner-friendly box. It actually walks you through how to exploit it with Metasploit. So I already know it's vulnerable to the Eternal Blue. So going back over to the Kali Linux box, I'm gonna get clone that, and just to make sure that the box is vulnerable, just to prove it, I'm going to do an nmap scan, which I've already done, so it's already It's already in there. That's the right IP address, I think. Yes, right IP address. There we go. Oh, need sudo permissions. Yeah, and basically I'm just scanning port 445 because we know that's the vulnerable service over SMB version 1. This will output the operating system, the type of operating system, version, and then this script right here, this vuln script, will go over and pass through all the vulnerability scripts or scanning scripts in nmap. So after a couple seconds, we can see that we are vulnerable to MS17-10, and it's a high remote code execution. And if you scroll up, port 445 SMB, looks like it's a Windows 7 server, or server R2 2008. Cool. So now that that's out of the way, I'm going to clear this and cd into AutoBlue, and basically you just go into the shellcode directory, and they have this handy little script called shellprep.sh. You run that, and this will generate and reverse shell using MSF Yes, it'll generate a bunch of them for Metasploit and kernels and x64 and x86. So I'm just going to run through this real quick. lhost, let me get that for you real quick. That is my machine right here. Paste that in there. Lport, let's do 777. I'll do 7 again. We don't want to use an interpreter, so we're going to use a regular command shell. That's option 1. And we don't want to use a stage payload. We're just going to use a stageless. So that's, again, option 1. And there's the command that it auto-generated based on the options we gave it. And it'll spit us out some shells to use. Alright, cool, we're done. So now we can see all these shells that it generated. I'm going to end up using this one, this SC64 bin. I tried this kernel one a couple times, it didn't work. This one actually didn't work a couple times also, but eventually it got to work. So we're going to change back to a directory, and yeah, I just go ahead and set up the netcat listener. We're going to use this exploit right here, eternal blue exploit 7.py. Since it's Windows 7, here's the Windows 10 one, and we got a Windows 8 right here. Couldn't this eternal blue checker that scans for vulnerability couldn't get to work too good, and Met works a lot better, but it is there. So let's set up a netcat listener. OVNP, what was it? Quad 7, and then we'll run this exploit. You can see I already ran it a couple times just to check. So I will let it go. Yeah, so this happened a couple times, and I just kind of ran it again, and it worked. It doesn't seem to be working this time. Let's try a different one. Yeah, 64. Oh. Let's do the kernel. And there we go. Okay, so the kernel one worked this time, which is strange. Which is weird because you see it still gives you the invalid parameter. I don't know exactly what that's about. I think it has to do with the memory on the machine because it's working off, I think, minimum memory. But we come down here and go, who am I? And we're NT authority system, and there we go. Eternal blue exploit without MSF venom, or without Metasploit.